All right, it's Mark, and we are up to week 7. And what's pretty crazy, and I don't know, you might be surprised by this, is we haven't even started talking about exercise or nutrition yet. It's crazy, right? We haven't even started talking about eating, but this is a lifestyle program, right? It's a lot more than just exercising and what you eat. It's a lifestyle. And so the first, several weeks, we've really built the foundation, the momentum. And then we just started talking about water, by the way, and I'm sure you realize this. We talked about water before we talked about eating, right? Because water, you can live without food for 2-3 weeks, but you can't live without water for 2 or 3 days, right? So water really is where you want to start. We want to get hydrated first. And now in week 7, we're going to talk about what you eat, which is eating whole foods. That is the theme for this week. And that's what I want you to focus on this week. And so what is a whole food? A whole food is essentially a food that is unprocessed in its natural state. Think an apple, right? An apple is a whole food. Is applesauce a whole food? Well, not really, right? It depends on, there's some applesauces that could be healthy, but it depends on how they're made, right? Some are highly processed, while others, maybe your grandma made, right? And then, of course, you go from applesauce to maybe apple juice. And that is extremely processed, right? It's basically just sugar and water. There's no fiber in more processed foods, and that's really the key. So why are whole foods so important? Well, number one, they're more nutrients, right? Because when you go from an apple to applesauce, you're taking away the skin, and there are a lot of nutrients in the skin. Number two, it's more filling. There's way more fiber in a full apple than there is in apple juice. And essentially, there's no fiber in apple juice, where there's a nice amount of fiber in apples. And fiber is an indigestible carbohydrate that has no calories, but it helps fill you up. The other important reason why to eat whole foods is that you're going to be eating fewer calories. And we mentioned that, fiber helps fill you up more. So whole foods help you eat fewer calories while still staying full. So if you eat, for example, like a processed, let's just say you eat like a fatty burger, it might not fill you up that much, but it's going to give you a huge amount of calories. It could be 1,000, 1,500 calories, whereas you can have an entire meal filled with whole foods, like maybe some grilled chicken, some vegetables, some, brown rice for you can have 600 calories and it will fill you up more than 1,500. So that's why whole foods are so important. And one more really critical thing I want to mention about whole foods, there's so many diets out there, right? There's so much confusion about what to eat. And it's kind of frustrating for me because, there's paleo. Oh, you know what you should eat? Like people did 30,000 years ago, even though we have literally no idea what people actually ate 10,000 years ago. We're only guessing. And not only that, even if we could eat like people 10,000 years ago, the foods that we have access to are just completely different. And I'm not saying paleo diet's bad or anything. It's just, I think there's an easier way, right? There's so many diets out there. And I think, there's already been amazing research done on what we should eat as human beings in order to have the greatest longevity possible. Would you like to know that research? And I can share it for you. There's amazing research done. There are pockets around the world where there's an unusual concentration of centenarians, which is people who live over 100 years old. And these people have been studied. There's a man named Dan Buettner who's from National Geographic, and he studied these people all around the world in these pockets and figured out, what are they eating? How are they exercising? What are they doing? Pretty cool information, right? Would you like to know? I'd like to know. Unfortunately, I do know because I've already read the books and studied it. And one of the key themes was that these people eat whole natural foods. It wasn't a specific diet. They all ate different types of foods. In Okinawa, Japan, they're eating a little bit more fish and some more rice maybe. And in Sardinia, they're eating a little bit more, even eat goat cheese. They're eating, different types of foods. And then, in Costa Rica, they might be eating a little bit more rice and beans. The point is, all throughout the world, it's not the specific food you're eating that is that important. It's the philosophy and the strategy of focusing on whole foods. And so while all these different centenarians and all these people who had incredible vitality as they aged, it wasn't the specific food they were eating. It was that they were eating whole natural foods. Okay, so that's why this is so important, and that's why I want you to focus on a whole natural foods diet. And so here's the thing, like, how do you implement this? Well, you're going to ask yourself when you're about to eat anything, and this is my philosophy, by the way. This is, I think, a huge reason why I've been able to stay lean and why I've helped people stay lean is I ask myself, what is this food? Where did it come from? Is it a natural food? Is it a whole food? And it really has changed my approach to eating. Because I used to get I used to eat in a way that just wasn't really fueling my body with energy. And that's another kind of important point I want to mention is you're asking yourself this question, is it a whole food? And then number two is, is this food going to fill me with energy? So if you have a bacon double cheeseburger and fries for lunch, is that going to make you feel energetic? No, you're probably going to drool and go to sleep in the fetal position, right? You're not going to be super energetic. And so I think this idea of eating whole foods and eating to fuel your body with energy and stay energized is such a game changer, and it's really changed my life. And I'm going to give you a sample meal template that I personally follow to kind of make this more real for you and more practical so you can implement it. So for example, every morning around 7:30 a.m., I'll have a shake. I'll have a shake with some protein, some fresh fruit, some fresh vegetables. And that's what I do. I have a shake. Sometimes I'll have eggs, but generally I have a shake. Super simple, takes me 3 to 5 minutes. At lunch, around 12:30, I have a salad. And what's so cool about having a salad is I can put so many different things in there. I can put different types of meats, but I usually have, chicken. You can put different vegetables. And by the way, this isn't a little salad. It's a man-sized salad, okay? Healthy fats, like some nuts, some avocado. And in New York City, I go to places like Chopped or Fresh & Co., where they make the salads for you and you can choose from a lot of different options. But lunch in general, it's a salad. It keeps me light on my feet. It's not super heavy. Because again, I want to eat for energy. It's all about energy to me. It's about energy. And I want to stay light on my feet and stay mentally focused throughout the day. Then after that, I might have a snack in the afternoon. So I might get, let's just say some almonds. I might have an apple. I might have just a little snack just to keep me going. It's a whole food. And then for dinner, I might have, just some protein, a fibrous veggie, and some starch. But my dinner is usually a little bit more variety than throughout my day. But again, I eat for energy because I've realized, by the way, and I don't know, this is something that you might realize if you do your daily review, because I did my daily review and I'm following this stuff, I realized that when I have a huge meal at night, it dramatically affects my sleep. Dramatically. Like I literally can't get up in the morning, especially if I have like a bunch of dessert, which by the way, it happens. Don't judge. But if when I have like a bunch of dessert and I overdo it, I feel it big time the next day. It's just one more reason why to avoid the kind of crazy sugary stuff, and to really focus on the whole food. 90% of the time, I want you to eat whole foods, right? We're not perfect all the time. I know you're going to have that candy every once in a while, right? It's just going to happen. But 90% of the time, you're going to eat whole foods. And that's the idea this week, is you're going to ask yourself these questions. Is this a natural food? Is this going to give me energy, this meal? And 90% of the time, you're eating whole foods. That's the plan this week. You might want to create a template like mine to make this easier to implement. And again, I think, I've thrown a lot at you in this video, but I think the combination of asking these questions, creating a template, man, game changer. You're not going to have to worry about getting lean. It's just going to happen, okay? So enjoy this week. We're building amazing momentum. You're doing incredibly well. Congratulations. Let's keep it up. I'll see you next week.